All right, welcome tonight to what I would call a free flow conversation on credit repair disputing. And for those of you who just joined, I will reiterate what I said in the beginning. No question is a stupid question. If you don't know, you don't know. If you don't ask, you will never know. And I am here to answer your question as much as I can answer. So I will present one of the things that I usually get, and I don't like it. After I present, sometimes people don't ask questions. Say, I don't have any question because everything is answered. I hope that if you have your questions, you still do it. I'm going to be just sharing a PDF on the screen just to be a guide to me so that my thought is structured and that I follow step by step, because I kind of mentioned that I will talk about a few things and I want to do those, but I will not be limited to those. I want you to actually basically ask me the questions that you have, and some of them I'll be able to answer, some of them depending on um how it is, I will give you the best answer that I can give you. Are we good? Let me see some of where you are, where you're coming from. Let me see who is in the house. Where are you hailing from? As every one of you know, I am between New York and New Jersey. That is where I hail from.
I'm in New York.
Florida. Yeah, Job, come on.
New York.
Georgia, Boston, very good. St. Lulu. All right, you're from the Show Me State. All right, tonight I hope I can show you. Oh, you are right over there, Tiffany. You're right. Behind of me in Pennsylvania. Good. Very good. So we have a huge sample of it. All right, thank you very much. All right, let me begin to share my screen and then we can begin to talk and I'll tell you a bit more about myself and then we continue on. Oh. What is wrong with my screen? Give me a second.
More people are trying to come on, so it's okay. Take your time.
You're letting them in?
What they're asking me for the link?
Oh. But the link is on my page.
I don't know if everybody's your friend yet.
Come on, don't make me laugh. Everybody's my friend yet.
You know what I mean.
Funny. All right, so let's I'll press with those who are here and we keep it going as we go on. So tonight we're gonna be speaking on disputing and how disputing actually works, and I'm gonna give you, for those of you who are new, let me kind of see in the chat how long, just by a number. You don't have to get into this. Just tell me 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, whatever year. So I kind of get a gauge of the level that you're at, so I can make sure I communicate in a way where everyone is basically clear and understand what I'm saying. Just give me the numbers. 1 year, 2 year, just number one, which will stand for a year. Even if you're several months, that will be 1. 2, 3, Bobby, give me a read off of them because I can't go back to the chat once I am sharing the screen.
1 second. Got 1, 1, 1, 1.
Okay.
1, 1, 2, and you know I'm 6.
Okay. All right. So most of you are very new to the process, and most of you have a lot to learn still, and that is okay. So as you know, my name is Richard Barrett. You see me as Richie Sage on Facebook. That's not my real name. That's my Facebook name. My real name is Richard Barrett. So I began to do credit 2017, but I never officially began to do it until 2021. I officially registered my company because I own other business outside of just credit. So I began to take it serious in 2021. That's when I officially registered my company. So I've been doing it for a while. Outside of the credit world, I do business. Outside of that, I'm an entrepreneur for 16 years. Outside of that, I am also a pastor. I'm a licensed minister in the Church of God Seventh Day. So outside of credit and business, my life is spent in the church. That's where my life spent. That's where my passion lie. I've been teaching for over 20 years inside the church, and then now in the credit space for the last few years. What is it, 2 years or something like that? I began to decide to share the knowledge that I acquired, because I have come to the realization that there's a lot of information out there that the average and even veteran credit repair companies do not know, because there is a kind of repetitive way how the industry is run, where you learn this and you don't question it, or you don't build on it. Once you're getting some dispute and the checks are coming in, you just keep doing it and you teach that. Some of the complaints that I have gotten behind the scenes is a lot of people sometimes come along and they have objection in coming along to study, for example, with us, and they will tell us, listen, I have spent a lot of money with other people and I didn't learn anything. And as a result, I just don't trust anyone. Then there's also the idea in the industry that is sold. And I'm not saying anything is wrong with this. I am just showing you some of the reasons why people refuse to learn or sometimes don't go further with their understanding. Individuals come along and they are pushed and told that you don't need to basically pay anyone to learn anything. That is partially true. If you are able to source the information yourself and have the time to dedicate to reading and to really understand and interpret things, then you will be able to do that. Myself, that's what I did, but it took me years to do it. And for those of you are hearing me with an accent, I am a Jamaican. So I'm originally from Jamaica. So if I speak and I say something and my accent causes you not to understand clearly, ask me, what did you just say? I'll be able to translate it where you understand. I hope that what I have been saying so far, you're hearing me clearly. Sometimes I go Jamaican mode on Bobby, and then I have to catch back myself and say, no.
Yeah, I can help because I'm used to it. I can help.
I have to translate for you. You're not Jamaican. So that's where I originally from. I live in America longer than I lived in Jamaica. So I'm a Jamaican at this point. Why I decide to do this? I want to help as much of you to do better in your business. Bobby said something to me that resonated with me. Tracy says the same thing. Tracy, that's here. She's a mentee of mine. Bobby's a mentee of mine. Job is an indirect mentee of mine. But what I will tell you.
Yeah, right.
One of what I will tell you is this. You are getting into business to change your life and your family's life. But there's something that Bobby said to me when I just met her over a year ago. She said to me, she said, Richie, I am in the industry for 5 years and I have not pushed myself the way I should because I have been a part of programs and I didn't learn anything and I did not want to disappoint my clients. That is what stood out to me. Once you are in business, you should take it serious and do your best to provide the best service to the clients that are paying you. You are in it to get a value, and the value that you are in it to get is to make money so you can help your family and at the same time help people. The customer is in it for the value of changing their credit situation. So we can be happy to collect the money, but we must also be passionate about giving the results that they are paying us to get. And once you do that, you will be rich. You will be rich because people will tell other people about the value that you're providing and how their lives are changed. Those who receive is not the most happy persons. The most happy persons are those who give. And when you can give your client a change of life and they call you with tears, in their eyes and telling you how they were able to purchase that house for their family, or to buy that car to help their family, or to be able to qualify for credit that will change their life. There is no better feeling than that. And then when you're doing it and being paid, it is even better. So I am saying to us tonight, think about your work and your business with passion, and put yourself in the best position to help your clients and yourself. I will say this to you, and I am not against you outsourcing your work. I am not against it, but hear what I will tell you. A lot of people make money in this industry and they don't know credit repair. They make the money through marketing and outsourcing the work. There's nothing wrong with outsourcing, because it's not everyone that is running a credit business sometimes will have the time to run it. You understand what I'm saying? And sometimes for different reasons, people outsource. But it must not be where you are in your business, even if you're outsourcing and you are not learning to know the art and the craft and the skill of the business that you are running. You need to learn that. So don't sell yourself short. That is my message to you tonight. Don't sell yourself short. Disputing is not hard. It just takes time, and it just takes you changing how you think and how you go about things. And a lot of time inside of our industry, it is stated and said in a simplified way that does not capture the real work that you have to put in. Is there any question? We're good? All right. So that is my life. Apart from running a credit repair business, I also publish, as we mentioned earlier. I write books to teach you how to think, not just to give you letters, how to really think, and to make the industry a better place where you don't have to actually try and do anything illegal to help your clients. Because sometimes, you know what? You're going to have clients and you're doing everything that the law gives you to do, but you are being basically railroaded by the bureau or the furnisher, when you can sit down with a client and knowledgeably explain that to them and explain what is going on. That client will respect and appreciate you. They will not feel like you have scammed or bamboozled them. So the knowledge it goes a far way. Sometimes you are going to get clients that find themselves into problems while you are working on their file. I am going to discuss that and show you some sample. This is not everything, but I'll show you some sample of how I was able to help clients beyond just credit repair with the information that I have learned and amassed over the years. I don't usually show these. I don't post a lot on my page about results. I don't, because it's just not something that is a part. I know the industry say post results, post results. I am an iconoclast. What does that mean? I go against everything that you hear that you should do. That's what I do. If I don't post a lot of my results, I don't basically discuss money or anything like that. That's just not how I operate. I come to the industry with a different mindset and mentality, and that's just what I do. Nothing is wrong with posting your results. I'm just telling you that that's how I operate. So that's why a lot of you don't really see me out there or see much with me. Here is it. What I want to show you here, so you kind of see what I'm telling you, that we know what we're doing. Original creditor. These are all original creditor. Bank of America, Chase, Citibank, Capital One, American Express, TD Bank. There is no bank that we have not gotten deletions from consistently. Once you understand what you're doing and understand how the system works, you will be able to know what all of these are on my page. Jefferson Capital, right? These are collections account. Capital One and Synchrony, original creditor. Collect every bank that you can think of. Barclays, TD Bank, Merrick Bank, all of them. None of them have escaped what we've been able to do. These are lease accounts, different kind of collections accounts. that we are able to basically delete off. There is no kind of account that we have never been able to delete off. These are from people that are inside. This is Job right here. You see yourself, Job? This is Job
Yes.
right here, able from us just having conversation over the phone to delete off $11,000 collection for his client. Okay, just from what I am able to tell him, and he followed it. And this is when Job was frustrated. Okay, frustrated because he's being open. And I said, just be patient and do X, Y, and Z. Follow it. So he messaged me, big news. The 11,000 collection is gone. This is Job right here. So this is somebody in the room. This is their result. $11,000. Over here, I'm going to tell you the story of this account and why you need to really understand the laws and understand them in a way that you can help. Watch this. This is a debt that we were able to get waived for the client. And if you look, this is last month. I don't really show a lot of days, but this is last month. This is May 13, 2026. I'm going to tell you the story with this. This actual client, we got this card, we got this account delete off the credit. And then with several other accounts, he was with me for about 2 months, 3 months in, got a lot of deletions for him. Then all of a sudden, we didn't hear from him. So we messaged him and said, why are we not hearing from you? Do you want to continue the process, seeing that you have only a few stuff left for your credit and we have deleted out? He said, listen, I am discouraged. I said, what happened? He's discouraged because the debt collectors keep calling him, right? Remember, this account, I got it deleted, but the debt didn't go away because that's not what credit repair does. Credit repair removed the debt from the reporting on the report. But he's discouraged because all the creditors that he still owes is calling him. So we said to him, once you pay, we continue. I will get them to go away for you. All right. That is not credit repair, but as part of the service, we are going to get them to go away for you. And I put together, I said, send me all the collectors that are calling you. And I do this for a lot of our clients. He sent it over to me. We look over it. I said, listen, this is what I'm going to do. In a month time, tell me if they are still calling you. And we send this out. Once I put together what I am putting together using the law, this is what came back, right? What did they say? They're going to stop all collection actions and they are going to remove the debt from the report. But that was not true because I already got the debt deleted. But this is a template response because I deleted the debt months ago. But now they waived the debt, which is a completely different ball game. Now he walks away with a debt that he's struggling to pay, and the debt collector is gone because of what we are able to do from what we know. Are you hearing me? If you want to do that, give me a fire in the chat. If that is your objective, to really learn to help your client and to help them in any way possible that you can, once it has to do with credit and it's legal. And what I am doing here is not magic. You saying something, Bobby?
Yeah, let me just say a few things. I've been with Richie for over a year, and yeah, I've had a credit repair business for 6 years. And when I started with him a year ago, and the whole year, I mean, I get deletions like crazy. And like he's going to say next, it's not magic. It's just understanding the system, listening to what Richie has, reading his books, and staying consistent on learning. So I can be the one that you can look at all these papers or whatever, but I'm the true person that can tell you that Richie knows what he's talking about, and he's changed my business. And I get deletions like crazy. Like I'm the best person to speak for you.
And tell them that I have never coached you to talk for me yet, or tell you to go anywhere
never.
and speak on my
Listen,
behalf.
I've struggled in this business, and I've had many mentors, and I've been in the CRC, not bashing them at all, but I'm just saying, like, it takes so much more than just doing a couple little classes and getting software. Like you promise these things, but I personally have a real estate brokerage, and we have a program where the clients come in, we help them delete things off of their credit and add positives so they can qualify for a mortgage. So I didn't really push the credit repair part of the business because I wasn't really getting good deletions, and that was my business motto. So now I push it because I know I can get deletions for clients, and I know I can set their profile up now to be able to get a mortgage. Like I have the confidence because I've listened to what Richie's told me, and he's taught me the system. I'm still learning, by the way, and he's also taught me consumer law and the strategies if you don't get a deletion. But I get lots of deletions, so that's just my little.
And it's basically there is something important to what you said. You were a part of mentors that make millions. That make millions. Millions. If we mention their name, you will know who they are. They're huge. They make a lot of money. But that's just the business side of the business, and not just the mentorship part. You also did outsourcing and accounts that she couldn't get delete off to close out clients that she have to buy their homes, because as she said, she run the real estate brokerage, and the credit repairs are offshoot of that. Once she started to work with me, she closed out those clients. One of the most celebrated one that I remember vividly, because we have done so much and have accomplished so much, is that you said you would have made $1,200 for the year off that client. But because you were able to basically get off the accounts that you were struggling with, that client now becomes a $10,000 client because they will close on the house. That is a whole different level of ball game. Once you are able to help the people. So I am saying this to say to us, please, you can do this. You can learn it. It's not magic. The reason why she have success, she listen what I tell her. Outside of just coming to class, she read. When she's on vacation, she's reading the book. And the next thing, she kills me with questions. Right throughout the night. Not just throughout the day. Right throughout, because I make sure that I help you to understand. You need to understand. Once you lay the foundation right, for the rest of your business, you will be good. For the rest of your business, because the credit system is structured and there's only but so much information. And once you learn it and learn the basics and the foundation and learn how to really think, because people speak about mindset, right? And how you need to have the proper mindset in business, which is true. But in disputing, you need to change your mindset as well. You need to change your mindset as well. And once you do that, you will be successful. It's not magic. When I came into this industry, I did not know anything. And for 2 years, I sit down and study. Before I move, I froze. But because I was making money outside of my credit repair, I was able to take that time off to make sure that I understand what I was doing, because I never wanted, and that's why when she said that, it resonated with me. I don't want to take people money and can't help them. All right.
Let me just say one more thing, sorry. But I just want to emphasize, like, I was willing to learn and I was willing to study and read and get the information. I just never found anybody who gave the correct information to get true deletions. And I know if you guys are newer, that you're trying to or have tried, and to have somebody who knows what they're doing and you can trust and know that he has the information for you to be successful. It's not a YouTube channel. It's not a pick stuff from here and pick stuff from there. It's true education. I mean, it just means everything.
One of the problems that exists and that you're going to find yourself in if you are not structured, right? You as when it comes on to learning dispute, everyone in the industry, because the industry is not unified and it has certain regulations that is in place, like for example, life insurance or banking or something like that, where everyone have to follow a certain set of rules. Because credit repair is not like that. Everyone have their own perspective on disputing. And a lot of times it's not grounded fully in the law. It's grounded in, I try this and it worked. So what happens when you're feeling and you're all over the place? You are going to get confused. One guy over here said, only put 5 things in your dispute. 5. And then the next guy over there said, do everything. You're going to get confused. And then when you do everything or you do 5 and you don't get the deletion, you're wondering, am I doing something wrong? Because no one is explaining to you in a structured way why you are doing what you are doing and the reasons behind it and why it works the way it does. You need structure to your learning. If you don't have structure, and I will say this, pay attention. And as I said, all of us are searching to learn. You will see people running on every single call that exists. You know why that is the case? They want to learn. And because what they are learning is not sufficient and it's not structured. So as a result, you are still searching. And if you're going to do that, it's going to take you a long time to learn. A long time to learn. Because you're going to have to watch 1 million YouTube videos and all of them telling you the same thing. But yet still you're spending 5 hours watching it, believing you're going to get something new. So once you discipline yourself and decide to learn, you will learn. You will get it. It's not magic. None of that which is above the results, none of that is magic. It's not magic. I'm not doing any sauce. I'm not running any play. None of that. It's understanding the law, understanding the system, and understand to think your way through what you are doing. That is the key to your success. Every one of those results came from the exact same thing. Understanding the system, how it actually works. That is what I have been sharing for free. I am sharing it now, and that's what I share from time to time. That's what I share with those who study with me. All right, getting started, right? The first thing, getting the client is step 1. Knowing how to dispute is the business. That is your business. Because if you get 1 million clients, the money looks good. But if people start to walk around and say that you're a scammer because they're not getting any results, none of your life become so miserable that money cannot solve it. Because when your reputation comes on the line and people start to talk evil against you, that is not something good, especially if you begin to have success. And people start to badmouth you and they see that, oh, she buy the Benz, she have the house, but I am over here and I can't get my house. Badmouth. They destroy your business reputation. So it is incumbent on you to understand, after you gain the clients, how to make those clients happy and satisfied. When you decide to dispute, it is good for you to devise certain strategies, because credit repair is so repetitive and you're seeing the same thing over and over. You need to have a certain set of go-to strategies that you can go to, that are solid strategies that you can pull on and use at different times to get the result. We're going to discuss methods, a few methods, and then I'm going to tell you my method that I am pioneering. That is not new, but it's just me putting a label for us to understand it. And it's slightly different from method 2 and factorial disputing. All right, where do you start? How many accounts? So once you get the client in, all right, we're now discussing disputing. Once you get the client in, the first thing that you will do is pull that report, look on the report, on the accounts that on the report. Some clients is going to hand you off the report and disappear. And you're not going to be able to talk to them. And some clients is going to be irritated with questions. And what they want is to just give you the report, disappear, and at the end of the month, you tell them that you get deletions. You're going to get some of those clients. But that's not where your issue lies. Once you get the report, the first thing that you do is, and I assume because most of you are just starting out, some of you are on the smaller side of things. When you get bigger, you have to automate some of this. You are going to look through the account, the report, see all the negative items that's there. You need to learn everything you can learn about each of those negative items. That means you are going to ask questions. I will tell you this from experience. And those of you who have my books, you know this because I lay this out in it. Do not assume that the account that you see on the credit report belongs there. Do not assume that it's correct. Do not assume that the late payment is correct. You will see late payment where the consumer was not late. As a result, that's a different kind of dispute from you just saying this is inaccurate. That's a different ballgame. You will see account on the report, a charge off on the report that the client did not default, where it's their fault that caused the account to be charged off. You need to understand that. Once you have that, that's a different kind of dispute. Collections account. You will see collections in the report sometimes that does not belong to the consumer. So the first principle in disputing, do not assume that the negative items that are there are correct. It is your duty to find out if they are correct. After you figure out whether they are correct or not, then you will begin to devise your strategy. Each kind of account comes with certain kind of problems. And the faster you understand that, you will figure out how to navigate those accounts. The kind of problems that comes with charge-off are not always the same that comes with collection. Not always the same that comes with a bankruptcy. Not always the same that comes with repo. So you need to understand those kind of nuances and differences so you know where you are going to begin and what is it that I am going to employ to basically attack it. So you read the report and you check out the accounts. Identify who the furnisher is for each account. Look for the errors that might be there with the data points, the balances, the year open, because sometimes there are logical errors inside of the report. An account that was opened in 2010, but it was closed in 2009. That's a logical error. The consumer, the account number, all of those things are all over the place. Those are the low-hanging fruits. But disputing is way more than that and way more complex than that if you learn the things that you need to learn. Look for the factual error. Pick your strongest account first. So, for example, and I have these just to guide me. Some of what I'm saying, I'm going to speak off the top of my head with some of them. This is listed here, but I don't sometimes will read all of them. I will just tell you what you need to know. So you pick the strongest account. Say, for example, you get a client, and this is our strategy that we use. It's not the only strategy, and you don't have to do this, but I'm giving you an example of what it means to pick the strongest account. Suppose you might have 10 collections and 5 charge-off, and I am going to tell you why I do not subscribe once the number of the accounts reach to a certain level. I'm going to tell you why I don't agree with disputing all of them at the same time. I am going to give you knowledge about the system that will justify what I'm saying, not my opinion. What happens here is this. We usually begin with the collections first because those are a lot of time easier to get off than the charge off in most cases. Out the gate, you want to get some quick wins to get your client happy. Even if down the road you start to have some drawback and backers, the client will see that you got some wins, so they will be more patient with you. So as a result, you target those. You look for the accounts that are the oldest. The older ones, you will have a better shot of getting off than the newer ones, because the older ones are much harder in a lot of cases to be verified. The newer ones, especially if there's still a balance, and I'm not saying you can't begin with them. I am just giving you a strategy to tell you why it makes sense to do it the way I'm telling you. The newer ones, more likely than not, especially if there is a balance, the furnisher will still have a lot of paperwork on the account. So it will be easier for them to verify it. So as a result, especially if it's charge-off, not collections, this rule is for charge-off and other original credited stuff. So you begin with the older ones and you push from there. If you are trying to accomplish something urgent, then the ones with the most impact, you attack those. Again, if you are dealing with a client that is trying to buy a house or buy a car, that again will dictate how you decide to go about it. For example, if it is the case that they say, all right, you have 10 negative, but only 1 negative is holding you back from getting the underwriting for the loan done, you are going to go off that 1 negative, because it is what is holding them from getting to where they need to get to. We have cases with clients that comes in multiple negatives, right? But all the negative does not carry the same weight. And what we did, we sit them down, we said, listen, you need to buy this property. These 3 accounts are your problem, even though you have 7. What we're going to do, we're gonna get rid of these 3. You go and buy your house, and if you want to come back for us to get rid of the other 4, so your report completely cleans and from an optic perspective looks good, then you can come back. Because in the scheme of things, this is not about you. This is about the client and getting them to their goal. And once you get that client to purchase that house, they will be more willing to come back than you have them there drawing out the dispute so you can make more money. People do that in the industry. So if it is a case where you look on it and you always find out what the goal of the client is, you target those that is going to get them to the goal fastest. What am I saying here? There is not one size that fits all in your dispute. What the situation is, dictate what you do, what you basically do first. Is that clear? Any question? How am I doing so far? No question?
Yes, I had a question.
Go ahead.
I was kind of just wondering, what are the underwriting for? How do you know which accounts to get rid of based on their goals?
So for example, if they're doing who asked that question? I didn't see you just now.
Ashanti.
Ashanti. Murder Inc. I'm joking. The pastor is talking about Murder Inc., right? I'm joking. I was a church boy. All right. So for example, if it is a mortgage, right? A mortgage, you usually you can't get qualified if you have any negative in the last 12 months, right? Like a late payment or a collections. That's one. Secondly, if the collections is paid off or the charge off is paid off, sometimes that will close it out even if you don't get it off. Each underwriter sometimes have their specifics. Like for example, if they're going with a traditional bank, it will be more rigid than if they're going with a small mortgage loan generator. So it depends on what they're going to do. That will dictate how you go about it. If they're gonna buy a car, it's not going to be as stringent as a mortgage. It might be where you just need to get off one or two accounts, while with the mortgage, you might need to get off more. So that is why it's important that outside of the gate, you ask the client, what is your goal that you set out to basically accomplish, why you need the credit repair. That will set the stage for you. In addition, that is why it's important for us to learn the fundamentals as you go along, because the repair is just one thing, but you need to also understand different products. What are the things that they're looking for different kind of products? And you, once they tell you, the client tell you that this is what I want to do, you will have a good sense of, okay, these are the things I need to focus on. It's mortgage. I can't be carrying a balance on the charge off or the collections. And depending on how long the collections or the charge off basically exist, some underwriter will tell you you can't have any collections there, depending on the kind of loan that they're trying to get and the kind of money they're trying to get. So it all depends on what they're trying to get. That will dictate what you do. Sometimes you will get a client and they want the mortgage, and all they need is 2 more months. And automatically, even if you don't get any negative off, they will be qualified because it will take them out of the 12 months window. So in cases like that, you just dispute and you tell them that, listen, I'm gonna try to get off what I can get off in the next couple of months, the 2 months or 3 months, but you don't really need to get these off. Time is what is holding you back. And we have clients like those, and we tell them that. And they're quite fine, and they still go ahead with the dispute. And then once the time comes, sometimes we get off the stuff and they're good to go by the time it reaches 12 months in 1 round or 2 rounds, we get it off. Sometimes we might get off some and some remain. Sometimes, depending on the nature, it might not come off within that 3-month window, but we say, listen, you are ready, go over there and get it going. And they go. Just
Hey, Richie, can I give an example? So most of my clients are in the trying to get a mortgage. Not all, but most of them. So I try to work with the lender, because every client has different things that they need to accomplish when they need help with their credit. So just one that Richie recently helped with, I had to get a one main account off for $11,000 because it was keeping her DTI, which is debt to income ratio, from qualifying for the mortgage. So I have learned the best thing to do when you're talking about a mortgage is to partner up with the lender that they're using, or a lender, to look at their credit, see how they would qualify for the mortgage.
Yes, because as I said, each underwriter has different things that they're looking for. There are certain standard things. If they're doing FHA or a regular loan, that is basic, you can't get around that. But then there's also some other things that is specific to certain lenders, depending on what kind of lender they are. Because as you know, as I said earlier, the bigger banks, it's a headache when it comes on to dealing with them. And getting to speak to that lender is basically sometimes helpful in telling you what exactly they need to get off to do the underwriting. So that is a very good way to approach it, as Bobby said. Thank you.
Somebody asked, how do you know how much an account is affecting on the report? So that's kind of the same thing.
How do you know how much the account is affecting?
Yeah, how much the negative account is affecting their report for whatever they're trying to qualify for, I think is what she's saying. Same thing we just talked about.
Yeah. Because remember, as I said earlier, and these are good questions. You know why they're good? It's proving what I told you earlier. We are inside of an industry that is structured. It's not magic. It's structured, and once you learn the information, you got it. So each lender, for certain kind of loans, they have certain kind of information that you have to meet. Like, for example, a FHA loan, the government, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, set the standard and tell those who are going to issue those loans, and it specifically deals with credit and the credit report. It tells them this is what you have to basically meet in order to qualify the person. So the system is built out with that kind of information out there. You have general knowledge, and then you might have some small variations, and that kind of information is out there. You can basically have it. I have something that I'm working on to address all of those, but I'm not going to talk about that because that's not for here. Where you will be able to kind of understand this in a much better way, because I'm trying to address the different issues that I see and that I can help with what I know. All right, so we go down here. If it is the case where you have a clear-cut violation, then you are going to make sure you have your supporting documents. And when I say violation, not every violation warrants a deletion. So you have to understand which kind of violations warrants a deletion before you expose your paperwork. Because you might believe you have a violation, expose the paperwork, and you just help out the furnisher to not delete the account. Because they say, see here, you prove my case. This account belongs to you, so we're not moving it. And we're just going to fix what you said is wrong with the account, because they have that option to modify the account. So that's why you have to understand what violations I have leverage and what violations I might disadvantage myself if I do it a certain way. Because they have the option to modify and update the account. Not because something is wrong, meaning it warrants deletion. All right, let me press on. Here is some background stuff that I'm going to tell you that most people in the industry don't understand. What actually happens to your dispute letter when you send it off? Let me explain this to you. When you send off a dispute letter, this is what happens. When it goes to the credit bureau, because there's a lot of talking around what happened with your dispute and how dispute work and all of that, and most of the information is not accurate. And I have even heard attorneys discussing this and speaking mumbo jumbo. When you send off a dispute, are you following me? Your dispute goes to the credit bureau. The first person that sees your dispute, once you send it in by mail, that person is a mail sorter. On average, the credit bureau have about 14 to 15 of these people the last time I checked. These people are seeing anywhere from 5, 10, 15,000, depending on the volume of what's going on, mail per day. Are you hearing me? 15 people going through thousands of mail. When that mail sorter get the mail, they do one of two things. They scanned it in the system and send it through, or they throw it in what is called the suspicious mail pile. You know what that is? That is automatically a star letter. Sometimes the way our individuals explain what create a star letter for you is not 100% accurate. Sometimes you get star letter not because you have done nothing wrong. You get star letter because the credit bureaus have a policy to minimize how much dispute they process. This is what I mean when I say understanding the system. Because sometimes you get back a star letter now and everyone tells you that, oh, you might have put the wrong thing. You need a POA. You need this. How many times you have ever heard this that I just tell you? That they have an automatic policy to minimize dispute and send it into stall. Some of them have policy. Experian was called out on this, where they send you the star letter to get you on the phone so that they can sell you other products. This is what system knowledge look like. So once you understand that, you know what that does for you? You are not going to question whether or not I did something wrong. You understand what I'm saying? You're not going to question, oh, what did I do wrong right there? Why I get a star letter? Once you do your dispute right, you're good to go. The credit bureau have an incentive not to process your dispute, because everything that the credit bureau does, they make money off it. When they sell your data, they make money. When someone pull your credit report, they make money. When somebody pull the credit score, they make money. You know what they don't make money off? Your disputes. They have to pay to process the disputes. So it's not in their best interest to process your dispute. Now, apart from that, right? So you have the no reason at all star letter that they just throw it in the suspicious mail pile. Sometimes you get star letter because you do not have a power of attorney, and once it is not the consumer that is sent in the dispute, they don't have to process it unless you receive authorization from the consumer. Because the right to dispute is a consumer-specific right, meaning it is given to an individual, not an entity that is a company. So how you overcome that, or how you basically step in front of the consumer, is basically do a power of attorney. Now, let me give you something else. The industry has changed since the Trump administration. The CFPB leadership has changed, and the leadership at the CFPB, some of the employees there worked for the bureau in years past. So they are giving the bureaus what they want. Plus the bureaus are lobbying like crazy. So in this climate, it's much harder to get disputes. ProPublica, a few months ago, I put the piece on my page. Publish a piece and show you that from last year, I have been telling Bobby and Tracy and them this from last year, that the disputing process have changed and it's much more challenging than what it used to be. Why? Because the bureaus are violating the law and the CFPB is not enforcing it. The cases that were against the bureaus in 2025, the CFPB have dropped them. The consumer advisory opinion that the CFPB has issued, they have withdrawn over 60 odd of them that has to do with consumer protection. Last week, they were on the verge to implement a data broker rule because the data brokers are running wild, and the CFPB just dropped that rule and said they are not going to do it. And the explanation that they're giving doesn't make any sense. Every year, you used to have this thing that is called supervisory highlights that the CFPB published telling you what the bureaus are doing and what they see. It's out of some of these, the lawsuits come. From the Trump administration came in, they don't publish any more of them for the last 2 years. The last one that was published, and sometimes they were published 3 times for the year. Because sometimes they have special editions, summer edition, spring edition, fall edition. We're not seeing any of those anymore. So you have to know what you are doing and be patient. Be patient. Don't put your head in the sand if you see you are going and you are not getting what you think you would get. The other way that they give you star letters, if you send in a bulk of mail and they do not have any power of attorney, and all the letters is in the same color envelope, same stamp, same details on it, they automatically flag it as credit repair. And because the dispute right is not, even though you can dispute for the consumer, but the bureaus use this loophole because the dispute right is consumer specific. If you don't show that you have authorization, they automatically basically flag it as suspicious. Is there any question so far? No?
How do we show authorization?
Power of attorney. So you have a power of attorney letter, and you get the consumer to basically sign it and notarize it. Now let me explain this. I use both power of attorney letters, and I have what I call a certification of authorization, which is another letter that I don't get notarized, where the consumer is saying that they authorize me or the company, and they sign it. Experian will accept it Equifax. TransUnion plays games with it. Oh, you need to get it notarized. So once you can use that same letter, but just get it notarized. Once you get it notarized, then they have to process it, and you send that in with your dispute, because now you have a legal authorization that the consumer authorize you because of the privacy protections that comes with consumer report. The consumer authorized you to do the dispute on their behalf. I would tell everyone that is here, every client that you are processing in this climate, please send in a power of attorney authorization with it. The bureaus are running wild in rejecting disputes because of that. So
Where can you find that letter? Or
I have that letter in the bookstore.
okay.
I have the power of attorney letter in the bookstore.
And is that the same letter as like the identity affidavit?
I didn't.
It's like an affidavit letter that
kind of, because it has to be notarized, and an affidavit have to be so it has the same function like an affidavit. It has the same
so you can do one or the other.
But you just have to get it notarized.
Okay.
That is the key, because as I said, from experience, TransUnion push back once it's not notarized.
Okay.
And we just in the new climate, we don't send out any dispute at this current time without the notarization and the certification, because of the game that is being played. So the next reason why you receive a star letter, if your letter is not clear, right? If your letter is not clear, then they are going to say we don't know what you want, or they might send it over to the furnisher, which we're talking about star letter. So let me know if you say that. Once it's not clear, they're going to reject it. Now, watch this. I'm going to give you another inside information. How many of you are familiar with the 524 rule for Chase? How many of you are familiar with the credit 524 rule for Chase? It's famous, so that's why I asked. You know what the 524 rule is?
Ashanti says,
if I'm exactly right, but it's something along the lines of you can't open up 5 bank accounts within 24 months or something like that.
No, you're right with the opening part. So they're not going to extend credit to you if you have 5 inquiries on your credit report in the last 2 years. So even if your credit is good, once you have 5 inquiries or more, they're not going to extend any credit to you. Now, I say that to say to you, there's another rule that 98% of our colleagues in the credit repair industry don't know. Equifax have a 390 rule. What do I mean by that? If you have dispute the same information 3 times in a 90-day period, automatically once you send in the 4th round, once it's the same information, Equifax is going to tell you that they are not processing the information, the dispute. How many of you have ever seen this letter? That's what Equifax does. This is why it's important that you don't dispute everything at the same time. Because if you have done that in the first round, you don't get anything. And the second round, you don't get anything. And the third round, you don't get anything. Equifax is going to tell you that you are not doing anything different, and they have already verified the account. In addition, under the FCRA, The furnisher has the power to tell you once they have processed the dispute before that you have not said anything new in your letter, and therefore they have answered you already, so they are not doing any processing any dispute. That is one of the reasons why you don't want to dispute everything at once. In addition, once you dispute everything at once, that is one of the ways the Bureau used to tell you or to figure out that you are a credit repair company. And if you don't have that power of attorney, sometimes they use it against you. Not all the time, but sometimes they use it against you. Any question? Someone is saying something?
No other questions.
We do.
We good?
So would you just dispute 5 at a time? I feel like it gets really confusing when you do 5, but I have to just stay organized.
Stay organized and track your stuff. And if you have, say for example, one account has 3-4 violation. In your first round, don't list all the violations. Because remember, they have the power, if they come back verify, and you keep coming back with the same information under the FCRA to say, we have answered you already and we have verified and you have not presented anything new. But if you do 3 things, for example, in terms of a specific account with negatives or violations, and you only mention 3, once you come in the 3rd round or the 4th round and add the 4th one, that is new information you're adding. So they can't come back and say you did not add anything that is new. This is why it is important that you think your way through your dispute and not just select letters and just randomly do it, because you're going up against a system that is structured and that works a certain way. And you have to know where your disadvantages are and make sure you don't leave yourself vulnerable or in their hand where they can disadvantage you. Does that make sense?
Yes. So we want to avoid sending off general disputes, especially in the first round? We should point out the actual violation.
Depends on what the violation is. So how I teach this is this. Because the bureaus under the FCRA have the power to modify the account, right? Or update the account and not delete it, depending on what the violation is, sometimes because all you need to trigger under the FCRA, the reinvestigation of the Bureau, is to make a claim that the item is inaccurate or incomplete or some form of error exists. That is enough for them to do the dispute. But if you have certain grievous violations, then you can basically specifically state it, or depend on what you're doing in the dispute. Sometimes you'll be specific. So sometimes specificity is an advantage, and sometimes specificity basically destroy your dispute, because you said this account, the balance is 5,000 and you are having it there for 7. All they are going to do is go to the furnisher and say, how much is this balance? And the furnisher say, it's 7,000. And they come back and update it. That did not challenge whether the account is legitimate or not. That just challenged the balance.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Hey, Richie, I was going to type this, but Ashanti, I have personally never listed specifics on my first round to the bureaus, and I don't have any problems with that. So the way that, the first round of letters that Richie teaches, how to dispute, I've never specifically said the balance, anything. I just say that it's inaccurate, because like he said, that sets you up to get a reinvestigation from the Bureau. So I've never
I
had any
also
problems.
give you an advantage to give them a different look in the second round. Because if the first round we're saying it's inaccurate and it's the balance, and then the second round we keep doing that, again, you're exposing yourself for them to dismiss your dispute. And again, also, a lot of what most people in the industry do in their first round, we don't really do. And sometimes even the second round. Why? Because of the methodology that we're using, which I'm going to talk a bit more about later on. All right? All right. Oh, so back to what I was telling you. Let me finish up this because I jumped over that because I went off in the star letter. So when you send in the dispute letter, right, the mail sorter basically get the mail, and if they don't put it in the suspicious mail or run a star letter on you, they scan it in the system, right? When they scan it in the system, if you are a regular person, most of the time your dispute is processed outside of America. In the Philippines, in India, in Chile, in times past, I don't know if they still do it, which I don't think they do. They used to process in Jamaica as well. That employee has a set amount of time to process each dispute because of the volume of dispute. Once they get it in the system, that letter is uploaded in the system when they scan it in, and your consumer report is in front of them, both of them side by side, and they're looking to match the account that you identify with if it's in the report. Once it's in the report, they punch in they pull up a form that is called an ACDV right here. I mentioned it right here, which is a standard form that they send through the system that is called eOSCAR. They have anywhere from 26 to 34 codes that they use. And that code is what they use to communicate with the furnisher. So the letter that you send in, they upload it, and they have code that is built around the claim that you're making. Why? Because there's only a limited amount of things that you will ever say in disputes. So they build out enough codes to represent that. But they have about 6 codes that cover 80-something% of the disputes. And they punch that code in, so your letter become a 2-letter code, and that goes over to the furnisher with the ACDV, and they might have a few little notes inside of the box next to the account. Sometimes they don't. And then that person processes it. Now, let me tell you something again that you have never heard before. If you are a celebrity or you are a politician, your disputes are processed inside of America. They don't send those disputes outside once they know you and know that you're a celebrity or a politician. So within the credit system, there is discrimination. Yes, they do that. If you're a celebrity or a politician, your dispute is processed here inside of America where they process dispute. Because they do process dispute here, but most of it is outsourced because it's cheaper. And once the furnisher get that, they respond again through the ACDV and send it back through eOSCAR. So that's how your dispute operates when you send in a dispute. That's what takes place. Now, if you understand that, sometime based upon what you're doing, you need to think your way how you're going to navigate that based upon what you're saying. All right, we clear on the disputing process? Was that information helpful?
Yes, yes.
All right. There are 3 ways that you submit dispute through the Bureau. We have many other ways that we use. We don't just have 3. Most of you hear about the CFPB. We have way more than the CFPB that we can use at different time, depending on what we're doing. But under normal circumstances, 3 ways that you basically submit dispute to the Bureau. The worst out of the 3 is the online portal. When you basically submit it to the online portal, meaning the Bureau's online portal on their website, no human being interacts with your dispute. All the other ways, a human being always interact. Why? Once you upload it, it just goes through the electronic system and goes straight through eOscar and makes its way from there. So that's why that's the worst way. In addition, the codes that are used when you do an online dispute is way more limiting than what is used when you do it over the phone or by mail. So that gives you a disadvantage. You might be saying something that is best represented by another code, and because of the limitation of the online portal with the few drop-down boxes that they give you, it doesn't represent your true challenge in the right way. So the most disadvantaged way to submit a dispute is through the online portal. So if it's a serious dispute that you really need to do it, the online portal is very good and the fastest way if you want to delete off personal identifying information, certain type, not every type. That's the fastest way. You can get it done in hours or within 24 hours sometime, and sometimes quicker. Online. Over the phone, another way you submit your dispute over the phone, and then the standard by mail. That is the way that you keep track and have the best paper trail. Now, when you are disputing, let me make this clear to you. When you are disputing, if you are disputing with the Bureau, you cannot make legal claims in your dispute because the Bureau, under the law, is not required to investigate legal matters. You have to dispute factual matters. Like, for example, see, here's some example. The factual dispute. The balance showed 3,400, but it was paid to 0. This is a legal dispute. Are you following me on the screen? Let me see if I can enlarge this. You seeing it better?
Yes.
I don't owe this balance because the creditor breached our contract. That's a legal claim. The Bureau has no legal right to basically investigate that. So you don't want that language in your letter. Why? Because the Bureau's reinvestigation is only tied to the information in their file. This is about a contract that they don't have, and they would not need to investigate it because they're not a judge. Payment marks late, but the bank's record shows on-time posting. That is a factual one, a legal one that you should not put in. Creditor refused my payment, so I shouldn't be liable. That's a legal claim. The Bureau can't prove that. The Bureau is not going to go out their way to prove that. Account reported twice for the same original debt. What is a legal claim that you should make? This collector doesn't have the legal right to collect. The Bureau is not going to investigate that because that's a legal claim. So when you are disputing with the Bureau, just understand that they are only restricted to investigate factual claims. Are we clear on that? All right. I touched on star letter already. Let me go down here. I did star letter already. Disputing personal information, right? We are told that it's best if you clean up the personal information first and then you dispute. That's what we learned, correct? I would tell you, this is how we do it. We don't clean up personal information first. We basically clean up the personal information at the same time when we begin the dispute. Why? Because once the personal information is not correct, it is legally not correct. So if the credit bureau refused to basically change it, it is a FCRA violation because the data is inaccurate, and it's clear that it's inaccurate because your ID says so. And once they don't clean it up, it is a FCRA violation. And it's a violation that you can sue over. So because we are aware of that, we don't wait to basically linger in doing the personal information first. If you want to do that, you can. But I'm just telling you that once it doesn't match your ID, it's inaccurate. And it doesn't matter if it's attached to an account. That's not your problem. That's theirs. They should have accurate information. So why do you need to clean the personal information? You need to clean the personal information because that's how the bureau matches the account to you. The bureau has no other way to know if the account is yours, but only by the personal information that is tied to it. Because remember, you do the account, you establish the credit with a furnisher. The bureau don't know that. In addition, there is a million people that have the same name like you. So what the bureau used to know that the account is yours, because remember, all of this is being done automated. The furniture is furnishing electronically. The bureau is putting together your consumer report electronically. What tells the story that the account belongs to you? The personal identified information, the social, the address, the name. The name less than the social and the address because of how many people have the same name. So it's important that you minimize how much personal information is out there on you, because that gives you a better chance for the bureau not being able to verify or match the information to you. That is why it's important for you to control the personal information, because it gives you an advantage. Outside of that, the bureau do not know if the account is yours. And if the furnisher get rid of the paperwork in their system and they just have the basics that have to do with the bank statements from the account, they don't know, they can't match it to you except by the personal identifiers, because they no longer have the contract. They no longer have certain account details. So that's why it's important that you control the personal information, because it is what we call the informer. It is the informer. All right, the big one, Metro 2 versus factual disputing. Let me get some interaction from you. What is factual disputing? I need somebody to tell me what is factual disputing. Not you, Bobby. And somebody to tell me what is Metro 2.
Is it when everything has to be consistent and accurate across all three bureaus?
Consistent and accurate, yes. And usually, because you're looking at a tri-merge report, then you want it to be in all three reports. But keep in mind that none of the bureaus is bound by what the other bureaus are, because each of them are independent companies. But seeing it across the board on the tree, that tells us that information might be furnished accurate. So yes, factual disputing is along those lines. Who wanna give me Metro 2? Ashanti, thank you. You have been very good at engaging.
So I believe, Richie, that Metro 2 is the specific coding that the bureaus have for how data is furnished, and it has to do with like data first delinquencies and the actual information they're putting. Sometimes there's stuff missing and it's not Metro 2 compliant, right?
Very good, very good, Curtis. Thank you. So factual disputing is built on the requirement in the FCRA that the data must contain maximum possible accuracy. That is important. Individuals like to repeat on YouTube and places that, oh, what is in the report must be 100% accurate. Nothing in the law says that. It must be as accurate as possible using reasonable procedures. So factual disputing is where you are looking on the credit report and looking on the data points to see if they are actually accurate factually. So that's what factual disputing is. So this is purely an accuracy comparison. It begins and ends with the credit report. You are looking at the report in its final form and asking, does this match reality? Dates, balance, status, history. It is what printed actually true. Is what is printed actually true? What appears in the credit report, is that true? Metro 2 is actually a language, right? Metro 2 is the language that the furnisher used to speak to the bureau, and the bureau uses to speak to the furnisher. Now, all languages have a structure to it. That's how we derive meaning. If I come here and I begin to speak and I don't structure my sentence in the order in which English usually use, your subject, verb, object structure, and I begin with the object first, I start to go in reverse, you're going to get confused. Right? So, Metro 2 is that language, and it uses codes to communicate, say specific things. That's what it is. Metro 2 is not the law. It was developed by the CDIA, which is what we would call the guile, or the overseeing. What do we call this now? What do you call this again? My brain is freezing on me. The trade association. They are the ones that basically unite the bureaus and represent the bureaus, and not just bureaus, but debt collectors too, which is a whole other different kind of problem. They are the one that developed this guide, right? And tell you how the data must be furnished by furnisher. It's not the law. You cannot legally enforce it. It's just an industry standard that this is the way we are going to talk, and we are going to agree to speak this way. And if I decide sometime to make a mistake, it can be a problem. Sometimes it's not a problem. Now, here are what the limitations of both. So this looks at how the account is coded and formatted against the CDIA Metro 2 standard, compliance, date, status code, field consistency, and the technical layer behind what shows up in the report. Here, what are the limitations of these two approaches? Factual disputing begins with the credit report and ends with the credit report. Metro 2 begins with the credit report and ends with the credit report. If there is nothing that is inaccurate on the credit report or incomplete, factual disputing cannot work. You will not get deletions. And sometimes more than 50% or more of what is on the credit report is going to be accurate. A lot of time it's going to be accurate. When it comes on to, because of that, you have a limitation on what you can do with factual disputing. Because if the data is correct, you are not going anywhere with it. And again, the data can also be inaccurate, but the inaccuracy does not rise to the level where it warrants a deletion. That's why the requirement is maximum possible accuracy. That is the limitation of factual disputing. It begins with the report and it ends with the report. And what I will show you later, you will realize why that is important. Are we clear on this? And not every inaccuracy carries the same weight. Some in the inaccuracies, you're not going to go anywhere with it, even if it's inaccurate. Metro 2 What is the limitation? Similar. It has to do with the report. And it ends with the report. If there's nothing wrong with the data fields and the language, then you have nothing to get a deletion for. In addition, Metro 2 is not the law, so you cannot enforce it in court. Bobby can tell you this. How many cases we study in the university where the Metro 2 violation is there. The Bureau turn up in the court with the Metro 2 violation still on the report. The furnisher turn up in court with the Metro 2 violation still there. They didn't change it. And the judge says, yes, the Metro 2 is incorrect, but it did not mislead as it relates to the FCRA. So your case, you got to go home. The case is thrown out. And the case was not brought on the Metro 2 because you can't bring a case on the Metro 2. The case was brought under the FCRA, but the Metro 2 violation did not lead to a FCRA violation, so you don't have a case. We study multiple cases like this in the university, and the consumer went nowhere with it. So I am not asking you about the limitation of Metro 2. I am telling you it's very limited in what you will do. Now, when you are sending in a Metro 2 dispute, that also can be a problem for you. Because under the FCRA, what you are saying must be clear. And you must basically give a clear representation of what your contention with the report is. Have you ever seen most Metro 2 letters? Gobbledygook, not easy to understand, not clear, and it's not straightforward. So what you do in a case like that, the Bureau have a big code that they use. They send it over to the furnisher and say, check everything, because they say it's inaccurate and we're not clear on what is inaccurate. That disadvantages you. So sometimes a Metro 2 dispute, depending on what the letter looks like, put you at a disadvantage instead of helping you. And I am not asking you this. I am telling you from what people inside the Bureau say. Are you hearing me? So if there's nothing that is wrong with the Metro 2 code, you are not getting anywhere with the account. When you are disputing, you must not begin and end everything with the report. We have gotten off deletions. Bobby have gotten many. I have gotten many. Others have gotten many. Not because we begin with what is on the credit report. We begin there just from seeing the negative. But the story behind why the negative is there is what allows us to get the deletion. Because what we learn in that story gives us the angle and the advantages to get the account deleted. I am going to tell you a story. I'm going to use Bobby here because I don't need to use myself. And I have this in writing. I'm going to give you an example. She had a client last month. The client wants to buy a house. Are you following me? I hope that I'm not lost in you here now. Give me a 1 in the chat if you're not lost, if you're following me clearly and I'm doing good so far. Give me a 1 in the chat. Give me a 1 in the chat. All right, we're doing good. All right. All right, let me tell you this. So Bobby get this client, and we have a lot of examples that I can give, but I'm just gonna give you this one. So you see why beginning with the report and ending with the report is limiting. Get this client. The client want to buy a house, right? Just sell a house, want to buy a house. And when he wants to buy the house, he got a late payment. Sell a house, got a late payment on the account. Right? Apply for the mortgage, they deny him. So Bobby and I up on a one-on-one call, a one-on-one coaching call. She said, listen, we have this client. I said, all right. Did you ask the questions? Because once you're going to dispute, you need to ask the question. Did you ask the questions? What does these questions look like? Was he really late? What happened that caused the late? When was he reported late? Right? All of those questions and more, because it all depends on the situation that dictate how much questions we ask. He said he sold the house, and after he sold the house, the bank reported him late. Right? We say, all right. He disputed the account with the bank. When he disputed the account with the bank came back verified. When the bank came back verified, I said to Bobby, all right, this will be fun. We have something on our hand here. Because what the bank is saying cannot be true. If he closed on the house on the 15th of the month, the bank cannot say that he was late. How do we know that? Not from the FCRA, not from the credit report. We know that because I teach her in our disputing class the Truth in Lending Act and what it has to do with payments. Are you following me? And I'm showing you how Metro 2 and Factual is limited. What she learned under the Truth in Lending Act is that on the date that a furnisher received the payment has to be the date that they credit the payment. What they do with the payment after they get it, none of your business. Receive as a legal meaning. It means when you authorize the payment or when they receive the check in their hand if you pay with a check. So I said, Bobby, when did he actually made the payment? They closed on the house on the 15th. We said, okay, there's more information that we need. The bank told him, hear what the bank told him. The bank told him that the lien on the house was not cleared, so that's why they reported him late, right? That's the bank's argument after they verified the account. I said, Bobby, okay, you know what to do here based upon what you know. And this is what I'm showing you. When you learn, you can help your clients in ways that when you don't have the knowledge, you're not going to be able to help them. We said, all right, there's a middleman between the bank and him. Who is that middleman? The title company. I said, get to the title company, find out when did they submit the payment to the bank. Because when you go closing, you sign the check or you sign the authorization for them to debit it from your bank account or whatever means you're going to pay through. The title company is in charge of that. I said, when get to the title company, she did. She asked the title company, when did you actually submit the payment to the bank? The title company said, we did the closing on the 15th. I sent the payment to the bank on the 16th, and the bank marked the payment as received. Are you hearing me? Now, once we learn that, we know that the bank is capping. We know that the bank is lying. But the bank is not going to admit to you that they damage your credit because they know that is a violation. But we were able to unravel it, not with the FCRA, not with the credit report, but with what we know should happen in the context of the account. Are you hearing me? In addition, from understanding how the system works, we knew that the bank is lying in another way outside of that document. Because if he was late, the bank would have assessed a late fee against him, and they did not. So that tells us that the bank is also lying. Once we realize that they got the money on the 16th, what ended up happening? Boom, it's done. We have a violation. And all she did is send over the violation to her law firm that she's working with. The law firm was so happy. And I'm saying that now to say something to you. And why it's important for you to take your disputing serious and learn as much as you can. I see Asib Law post today inside of Credit CRC. And he made a statement. And the statement that he made, I have been posting a warning CROs about this on my page. He said, many credit repair companies are sending him file and telling him to look through them to see if there are violations, and he's not doing that. He don't even look. Except you send him bankruptcy, he's not looking because it's not his job to know if there's a violation. It's yours. Are you hearing me? When Bobby sent over that file to the law firm, she already put in order what the violations are. And she could only do that because she know how to read the credit report and know what is wrong from knowing the law. Factual disputing and Metro 2 could not do that. What I teach is contextual disputing. That is my methodology. You will not hear this anywhere else. You cannot Google it because I am pioneering it. What do I mean by that? I just demonstrated at work with the example that I give. Each account has a context. It has a history. What transpired over the life of the account will dictate what you use to help you to get the deletion. What we just used was not the FCRA. It was not factual disputing or Metro 2. We used the Truth in Lending Act because it governs the timing of payment. So we understand that there's a dispute over when the payment was made and when it was received. So we put the account in the context of the law that governs that. And the law tells us that once they receive it, that is what they have to attribute the payment to, which is the 16th. So the late, they're going to have to pay him and his wife for the late. Are you hearing me? The art of contextual disputing. Every account on a report has a history, and every part of that relationship from the day it was opened to the day it was reported is governed by Consumer Credit Protection Act. So there's different parts of the law that govern different parts of the transaction, and your leverage might come there. That broad context is the lens through which you have to think. That's why I said you have to change how you think about disputing. The report is just the final form in which the account appears. It does not tell you the whole story. The relationship behind it is where the real story lives. How the account was opened, how it was serviced, how it was reported, how it was collected. Contextual disputing means asking what happened across the whole relationship of the account, not just the final printout on the credit report. Factual disputing asks, is this page accurate? Contextual disputing asks, is the whole relationship lawful? And I just show you how that works. I am not telling you you're going to learn this now, because it's not something that is easy. It takes a lot of time and a lot of knowledge to master it. Metro 2, I told you the problem with that. How do you dispute the strongest account, which we talked about that earlier? The impact on the score, the documentation gap is some of what you look for, reporting inconsistency, and the relationship itself, based upon what the client wants to accomplish and what the client is doing over the life of the account. So as you dispute, don't just narrow down your dispute to the report. Ask the client questions about the account. Did you open this account? Is this does this account belong to you? Is there somebody else that is on the account? All of those questions you ask. Any question? I want to take some question now. I think I talk a lot. and I can really stay here and talk another 2 hours, but I won't. All right, let me say this and then I take some question from you. What mistake caused dispute to fail? Generic templates, that just generically, oh, this is not mine, or some generic stuff, which is most of what you're getting in the softwares. That causes it to fail a lot of time. Disputing everything at once. I tell you why that is a problem at different times. Sometime in the beginning you might get through, but if they keep verifying the account, they might tell you that we have told you already that these are accurate and we are not going to look at it. Vague language. You must state that the account is inaccurate, incomplete, or some error, or whatever else you are claiming in it. You must state that. No follow through. You're not keeping track of your dispute. So things that you have done already, you go back doing them, or things that you could add, you're not adding them. That cause your dispute to fall through. Ignoring the furniture. You're just disputing through the bureau. There's a lot of accounts that we get deleted from going through the bureau, and there's a lot that we get deleted from going through the furniture, and there's a lot that we get deleted when the bureau said no. We say okay, bye-bye, and turn to the furniture and get it deleted. And there's times when we do both the bureau and the furniture, and the bureau delete off and the furniture come back at the same time in the same round. I said no, we verify it, and we say okay, 2 bureaus deleted it off, and 1 bureau's outlet. We're not going to listen to you. We're not coming back to you. We're going to the bureau. So that's what I mean, thinking on your feet. You have to think your way through your dispute and strategize, not just say, all right, I am just going to dispute and see if it works. Think your way through how the system works. Over specifying standard dispute. As I told you, sometimes too much specificity work against your interests. All right, track every round when you submit your dispute. How do you know it's time to pivot? Because sometimes you have to pivot. Sometimes you have to leave the bureau and go to the furniture. Sometimes you have to leave the furniture and go to the bureau. Sometimes you have to go to the furniture and go back to the bureau, depending on what you're trying to do. So you have to track your dispute. Then sometimes 2 or 3 rounds with the same outcome. Sometimes you have to pivot. Sometimes we give an account a break. Trust me on that. Sometimes we give an account a break and say, all right, we have other accounts that we're working on. Let me give this a break and buy myself some time. Because sometime after 6 months, the bureau, which they're kind of changing that. They're changing that now. But back then, after 6 months, sometimes they wipe the system of your disputes. So when you go back, it looks like it's a fresh dispute. But they're kind of changing that now. And sometimes widen your lens, sometimes do a mixture of factual and Metro 2, and so on and so forth. And basically diversify it. And sometimes you escalate, bring in other enforcement and pressure points in the dispute to basically do it. Letters. There's a big debate in the field over letters. Should I make my letter long? Should I make my letter short? Do I need the law in the letter? Do I don't need the law in the letter? You need to lay out your argument in the letter. The vaguer your letter is the bureau is just going to do what they feel like. In our letters, we tell you what we're doing, and we explain sometimes why we're doing it. And we have had great success with those. Some people say don't involve the law. We do involve the law in our letters. And in most instances, the key to involving the law is to be accurate. So when you get back response from the bureau sometime, do you not see the bureau basically mention the law in their letter? Sometimes. Sometimes they do. And sometimes the furniture itself give you laws as well. So you have some people that say you don't need the law. That's not true. And let me address this finally, and then I take your questions. Learning to litigate. Learning to litigate is okay. And it's good to have that knowledge, right? It's good to have that knowledge. But you are not going to use that knowledge a lot. What you need to really learn is how to spot violations. So that means you have to know the law. That is the most lethal way to dispute, is knowing the laws. Factual disputing, you're going to get deletion. Metro 2, you might get some. You're not going to get a lot. But the real game in town is in knowing the law. I just show you an example, and we have many more examples of when the law bring the deliverance and not just the credit report or just knowing the FCRA alone or the FDCPA. You need to learn to know the laws because the bureaus and the furniture is not bounded by anything else. And the reason why the laws are enacted is because they were notoriously abusing consumers left, right, and center. And that's why Congress stepped in and give us the law. The game in town that will get you the most consistent results is understanding the law and how to apply them. Trust me on that. That is where the action, because the bank is not responding to nothing that is not the law. The bureau is not bound by anything that is not the law. So don't shortchange yourself and say, all right, I don't need to know that, or I don't need to do it. If you're going to go all out, dedicate yourself to learning, because you're only going to do this for a certain period of time, and you will have the knowledge for the rest of your career. Litigation is good, and you need to learn it. But knowing how to see violation is where the action is at, because even if you have violation, sometimes the violation, your client is not going to want to go to court because they're intimidated, or they don't have an attorney to sue on their behalf. So when you know the violation, you can forward it off to an attorney and you can explain to the client sometime and they will accept it. Remember what I told you, that it's in CRC. Just look up ASEEB law. You will see him say it today. And I've been telling my students this, that listen, law firm is not going to like you if you can spot violations and hand over the case to them with the violation, because you are basically asking them to be an auditor for you and your files, and they're not making any money that way, so they're not going to do it. So you need to be able to see the violation. Everyone is telling you to pivot to getting lawyers. I am telling you what you're going to run into if you don't know what you are sending over to them. He said it outrightly today in the group that I don't look on the file because that's not my business to do. So you need to learn so that you can spot it and send it over to them so they know what you have. All right, I'll take some questions. Let me get off that screen. I'll take some questions from you, please. Did you learn anything? Did I live up to your expectations?
Yeah, I have learned many things, Richie. So it's not a question. Actually, based on what I observed, I think so many people, they don't know that Metro 2 is not a law.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So many people that that are around like 4 decades, they do not know this information you just gave us tonight.
Yeah, Metro 2 is just the industry standard. It's like us agreeing that we are going to have a Zoom tonight. And I said, all right, to get into the Zoom, you have to follow. You have to follow this link, and this is what we're going to do. And you have to follow it. You have a choice to follow it, and sometimes you're not going to, but it's not something that you can carry to the court. Because even the language of compliance, that gets you nowhere.
And I have read so many letters that where I've seen that people, they rely solely on Metro 2 to get deletion.
Now, and a lot of people that are using Metro 2 are not getting deletion. Bobby can tell you that. Tracy can tell you that first. And Bobby and Tracy,
Yes.
Tell them. Bobby,
No,
tell them.
Yeah, I'll go ahead, Tracy. Go ahead, Tracy.
No, you go ahead. No, I was just agreeing that, yeah, Metro 2, I've been using Metro 2 up until I met Richie, and it was just hit and miss.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's not that you can't get deletions with Metro 2, but first of all, like, what the hell is it even saying? Second of all, like, what do you do if you don't get a deletion? Like, there's no, like, you don't even know what you're doing when you're sending Metro 2. You're just using a software. So, but the thing that I've learned with working with Richie is that disputing is not something that you're just guessing at. Like, you learn the system and you know what to do and how to navigate the disputes. So Metro 2 in that sense, makes no sense.
Hmm.
I mean,
And I want to say this,
Mhm.
Richie has encouraged us to read, to have information. So when you know your Metro 2, it is easier for you to spot the errors in the on any profile.
Mhm. But the Metro 2 is crazy work in learning it because it's
Yeah.
codes and stuff that you have to memorize and a lot of things that you have to do. And as I said, the way how a lot of the letters are structured, it is disadvantage you because when it goes to the bureau, it's not clear. And the bureau need clarity to put the code in to send over to the furnisher.
Yeah, I had a collection. I had one of my clients had a collection with um what
Midland.
yeah, Midland, yes, Midland. So the collection was 1,000 and point something 53.
Mhm.
And on the paper they said to my client, they mentioned the point 53, but on the report they don't have it.
Mm.
But at the time, I did not know this a small difference can make this small discrepancy can help me to get the collection deleted. But I did not know that. I didn't know that. It was error. So I did not know that. And fortunately, when I learned that and I sent them a letter to explain all the discrepancies and everything. And after like a few weeks, I don't see that anymore. I don't see.
Mm. Yep. Sometimes those things happen. So somebody asks, what is the difference between okay, Metro 2 is industry standard compared to consumer. So consumer law, right, is the laws that Congress enacted to govern the system. These are laws that govern the different aspect of your credit transaction, right? For example, when the FCRA governs how the account have to be reported and how your data have to be moved. That is governed by the law. When you're opening an account, that is also governed by law. When the account is to be collected, that is governed by law. When you're making a payment on the account, that is governed by law. How the payment is processed, that is governed by law. So most people, when they say, and I saw a video with someone that I shall leave unnamed, and they are saying factual disputing is consumer law. No, factual disputing traditionally is applying one aspect only of the FCRA, and it is the accuracy aspect. The FCRA has more versatility to it than accuracy and incompleteness. The FCRA has privacy requirements in it, but most people do not know how to use that to dispute. Most people don't. And how your data is moved and the procedures that must be followed, those kind of things can be used to dispute. When I am speaking on consumer law, I am not speaking on just the FCRA or the FDCPA. That's what most people mean. I am speaking on, and that's why I talk about contextual disputing. I am speaking on the Consumer Credit Protection Act, which have inside of it the FCRA that deal with the report, the FDCPA that deal with the collection, ECO, the Equal Credit Opportunity Act that deals with when the account was open and what transpired while the account is open, and so on and so forth. When you get denial of credit, what must happen? All of those things. I am dealing with RESPA, the Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act. I am dealing with the Truth in Lending Act. I am dealing with the Fair Credit Billing Act. I am bringing in all of those to bear on what I am doing in the dispute. And those of you who are familiar with my books, you know this from my books because you see me doing it. And I don't just tell you, I show you it at work in the cases and show you how it is enforced and show you when you are right and how to understand when to use it. That's what I am doing in my books. My books are not digital products that I am just trying to sell and hustle. I am teaching you how to think and how to dispute and how to understand the law. That is what I am doing. So when I say consumer law, that's what I mean. I am not narrowly speaking just on the FDCPA and the FCRA. And most people try to make it like factual disputing is no. As I often laugh and say to Bobby, factual disputing is consumer law peeping through one eye. And that eye is the accuracy eye. That's it. But the FCR is more than just accuracy. Anyone else with question?
Yes, I wanted to ask, is it necessary? I always hear people say freeze the secondary bureaus.
We don't do that. When I just got into the game, I was strict and I did it because I never know better. But what is the, let me ask you this, Ashanti. What is the reason why they usually say you should freeze it?
Because it holds other information. They verify through them as
The
well.
Bureau, so let me tell you this, and this is why I tell you, and please, when I speak, and I'm saying this to all of you, don't believe I am talking down at anyone. I am just talking about the industry. And when I say certain things, I am talking about the industry. Most people who do credit repair do not understand the system and how it really works. Don't understand the law, don't understand the system. I am going to tell you again, that is not true, because once the secondary bureau is a bureau, that means it's under the FCRA. And once it's under the FCRA, they cannot give up your information without you consenting for it to give up. The bureau cannot just go to that bureau and tell them, show me Richie name and show me Richie address. They can't do that. Once it's a consumer report, they have to have your sanction for it to be disclosed. What the bureaus of furnishers use to verify your information are the data brokers that I told you about that is not governed by the FCRA. Because to get information from them, you don't have to follow the privacy requirements of the FCRA that requires me signing for the disclosure. You can just buy the data once they're not furnished by once they're not governed by the FCRA. That's where the action is at. And that's why the CFPB was going to enact the rule to bring them under the FCRA, and they changed their mind under the new administration. That's where most of the information is being backed up. In addition, the credit bureau have more information on us than what is inside of the credit report, because the credit bureau sells all kind of different information outside of credit report for specific reasons, and it's only what is within the 7-year window you see, but they have way more information on us than that, way more than people realize. And they use the public data brokers, not the ones that are governed by the FCRA, because anyhow they get the information from them without your consent, that is a violation of your right to privacy, and you can sue them under the FCRA. So as a result of that, you don't need to freeze anything with any secondary bureau. Because what people are claiming that it's doing, it's not doing. It's not true.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Next.
Richie, there's a question. Is disputing causing collections to sue clients?
I would say no, but let me answer this way. I'm gonna tell you something again about the system. The creditors and collectors actually have built within their collection process litigations as a means to collect, right? And it's very effective. In addition, you have what is called a debt score. when the debt collector purchases your account, you see, like how you have a credit score, the bank sell it with a debt score, and that debt score predicts how likely or not are you to pay the debt. If it's high, then it's more likely that they're going to come after you. In addition, they have their internal system that they push the accounts in, and the system picks out accounts that should be sued on. So they have that process at work behind the scene. In addition, something that most people don't know, and I'm going to tell you this, the bureaus are informers. The credit bureaus, because they have so much data on you and they're seeing your financial behavior, sometimes the credit bureaus, not sometimes, the credit bureau has services that they offer to debt collector that help them to track you down and help to tell them when you're in a better position to pay or not. The bureaus sell that kind of information. So the debt collectors actually work with the bureau sometimes to do skip tracing. So if the bureau can't, say the debt collector can't find you, sometimes they buy that information from the credit bureau to find you. I have a post on my page with this. So that sometimes the bureau telling them that you are in a better position now to pay, sometimes because of that they sue you, because your financial situation changed. So it's not so much a disputing that you're doing that caused them. It's their business model as well as other inner workings behind the scene that sometimes you are not seeing, as in the debt score, as in the system picking out files to sue on, also the credit bureaus informing and consumers when their financial situation change and they're seeing it inside of their system. They sell that data to debt collectors. Next. I also wanted to ask, is disputing okay, that's you.
I had more of a question for my personal credit report.
Mm.
So I do have this Discovery card I've been good on. I just fell back for 6 months, but I've been paying it consistently for the last year. I've honestly been trying to dispute it. So I'm wondering if me paying it is not working in my favor in the dispute process, or should I be paying this card?
It's closed or it's open?
It's closed.
It's charged off?
Um, no, the card is closed. I can't
When
use it, but it didn't go into like charge off collection status.
okay, all right, let me ask you this so I give you the best advice. You have been paying it now or you haven't paid it? It's still in.
Yes, I've paid it now. I've
You
had it
put,
since 2019. I only fell back 6 months. Other than that, perfect
you
payment
put you
history.
put yourself in a tough position.
I
Because what happens, you could have negotiated a settlement and paid less. But once you begin to pay it back, they're not gonna want to negotiate with you, especially that it's Capital One disaster.
well, it was
Is
Discover. Actually,
no
I did.
Capital One no own Discover.
Oh,
Yes, so and
okay.
they don't like to work out. So in a situation like that, and this is for next time, when you're at the 6 month delinquency, that's when you basically 6 months and they don't charge it off. Are they
No.
skipping between the 6 month, 60 year, 90 there, 30 there?
Yeah, they didn't charge it off, but I did negotiate with them. They did get some depth off of it.
Okay,
So, and
okay,
then
okay, okay,
I'm
okay.
paying the rest. But the
All right.
late
The
is
fact
still
that you're
damaging.
paying it now, it's
Yeah.
gonna be more challenging for you to dispute it because they have active data coming in on it. So they are going to verify it because your payment is keeping it active. If it's not active, then sometimes it get clears out the system. So it's harder for them to verify it. But the fact that you're paying it, it's challenging. But if you want, you can still dispute it and see what you get. You have nothing to lose. You have nothing to lose. But it's
Yeah.
easier for them to verify it once you're paying on it because the account is still active in the system.
Okay. I tried it and several times and then it's not budging. So I guess so you're saying I have to wait the 7 years or
No, you don't have to.
She's like, send it to me, I'll get it off.
You don't have to wait the 7 years. Once you finish paying it off, then you can basically what you want, right? To get an advantage. What you want is no activity on the account. Once there is activity, that means the system is consistently being updated and refreshed. And that gives you a disadvantage because what once you are getting it deleted, you're saying you're challenging something that says the account is either not yours, and I'm not saying no identity or not like that. I'm saying once you're trying to get it deleted, your some form of illegitimacy is there with the account. That's why it needs to be deleted. But once you're paying it, you basically take away that advantage from yourself.
okay. So as far as for me and for clients, if I'm trying to dispute an account, we should just stop paying it.
Settle it. There's two ways to go about it. Settle it, right? Get it down, get it to close out, and then you can challenge it. But you can't have a settlement and then at the same time is trying to get it off because the system is still active. You can get it off because I have done it with clients where they're in default and they're paying. But let me give you an example of what happened. We have client delete off the account. The account is fresh. It's not, it closed, not charged off or anything. Major bank. Get it deleted off. And then what happened? The client went back next month and paid the account. Out of nowhere, the client called. Oh, my score just dropped by 20 points. I'm saying score drop. What happened? When we go back and check the report, the furnisher put back on the account even though we got it deleted off because she went and paid. So they basically refurnished the account to reflect the payment that was made, that the balance went down, add back the account to the report. So those are some of the problems you can run in because I successfully get it deleted. But because she pay it, it comes back.
Oh wow. So I should stop paying it.
No, I'm not telling you that.
What's the balance on the
What's
card?
the balance?
It's about 5,000.
Whoa.
It's probably went down to 4,000 something now.
Whoa. That's a big boy. And I am going to tell you that kind of account with that much, do not play with Capital One. They're going to sue you if you basically default on it.
Okay.
Capital One is in the top 10 of banks when it comes on to suing and Discover. What we were able to do, and I have this at the end of my slide and I just never do it because I wanted to give you the chance. What we're able to do sometime with our clients, right? Some of you mentioned suing. This is why it's important that you have knowledge. Bobby can tell you this because she see me do this, and I have a few of them on my posted online. We have clients that get sued, right? Come to us with lawsuit, and some of them get sued while they're with us. And what did we do? We get them dismissed because from a non-lawyer perspective, I am able to teach the client how to defend themselves just from an education perspective, and they put together their documents and do what they have to do and win. And I'm not just talking about debt collector. I'm talking also about original creditor. Because of the information and understanding the laws that I told you about. And we have people inside of CRC. The best-selling book that I have, Exposing the Collections Game, I have a same Discover account like you are talking about with Capital One. Up on a free call with me. Tell me the problem that he had, that the client is sued by Capital One. And I tell him, read this chapter in the book and do this. Within the next month, the Capital One dismissed the case against them. Because inside that book, I cover contract law, how to use it to dispute collections account. And I tell him what to use, and he used it, and he get it. Remember, this was just a free call that I gave. He have his client, and I tell him, and he basically used what I told him and got the discover, and Capital One to dismiss the case. So that is the kind of knowledge I'm talking about. You need to have so that you can help your client, not from a lawyer perspective. I'm talking about good education to them, and you're helping them beyond just the repair process. You can run workshops.
Yeah, because in the contracts we have leverages sometimes we don't know because we don't read them.
And you don't know contract law. And not just inside the contract you have leverage, but a lot of what I tell you in that book is not about inside the contract. It's about what must happen once there is a debt, and the angles that you can challenge it from, and what they need to produce. And I don't just tell you, I give you the cases so you're seeing them in real time with people winning against debt collector inside of court. I'll do 5 more minutes with you. I'll let somebody let you go because I don't want to keep up all your time. Run 2 more questions on me and let me help you, and then I let you go and have a wonderful night. Don't want to keep you too long. Anyone else with questions?
If there's no more question, let me give you an example so you can tell me if I did well. My brother, he had a Capital One credit card, and it was closed. He couldn't pay. He couldn't pay it, and I sent a goodwill letter to Capital One and asked to facilitate him to have like an agreement to pay because it had a hardship. So they give him the allow him to pay, and then after he finished to pay it, the score went up, and he applied for another one. They give him the card.
Yes, what? So Capital One will give you things once you're not defaulting on anything you have for them. Because Capital One also delve into subprime lending. So your score don't have to be great for them, but if you have anything in default, they're not gonna give you. So if you allow him to expand his credit that way, that was good. That was good.
Hey,
go ahead.
There's a question in the chat. They're asking where they can find your books, and she's asking about a first round letter.
Let me see the question in the chat.
Okay.
I also wanted to ask, is disputing causing collection, blah, blah, blah. The
last one there.
What's your opinion on a well-written round 1 letter that is likely to have low-hanging fruit removed? Where do we find your books? Okay, so the first round, that's a
letter, CRC person.
Yes, listen, the first round letter is dependent on the facts surrounding the account. Don't let anybody tell you that, okay, this is round 1. This is when you are doing credit repair without understanding the system. Because inside, let me show you where the books are while I'm telling you. Inside, if you understand the system, you will understand that different situations warrant you beginning at different places. So, depending on what the issue is, that dictates where you begin. Here is where my books are. Kyrene Credit Products. So this is the bookstore. You see in my screen?
Yes.
Kyrene Credit Product. This is where my books are. Here are the books. These books, let me explain these to you if you're interested. These books are advanced books. Okay? Advanced. These are not baby stuff. These are advanced. My late payment book is going to drop, God's willing, by next week, which is going to add to the advance. Most people are struggling with hard inquiry because they don't understand the system. This book gives you all of that. This is how to use privacy to delete accounts, collections accounts. Child support, this is how to delete it. This is the best-selling book that I have, Exposing the Collections Game. These are people that bought them that are inside of CRC that are my friends. And not my friends, but friends as in friends through business and them really buying the books and using them. Here is Tracy that is on the call. There's her review, which is my student as well. Here are the books. This book here, this charge off, this is for beginners. This is a replay from a free Zoom that I give out to dispute collections, the foundations of it. This is a 3-volume set of collections. If you're doing collections, you want to master disputing collection, this is the set. Can't live without. This is a beginner book, letter set. This is for lease, rental lease. This is for over here, so child support over here. So these are letter set. Here's the power of attorney letter, the person who asks about, and this is the delete of personal information. So these are letter sets. These are beginners, identity theft, charge off, collections, beginners, letter sets. So I have letter sets and I have advanced book. These are the advanced books right here. This book is over 300 page. This book is 150. This is over 300. This is over 300. And they walk you through everything legally you need to know about the kind of account that you are basically going to deal with. So you find the books here at KironyCreditProducts.com. Can screenshot it if you need it. Screenshot it and you know where to find it. It's on my page too. It's on my Facebook page. So KironyCreditProducts.com. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Bobby.
You're welcome.
That's the link. So the link is inside of the chat. You can press it and then just save it. Yeah, the first round, depending on what is happening, that dictates what you do in that first round, right? That dictates that you don't just send off a letter. You need to have, as I told you, the facts that surround the account. What happened with this account and what am I going to do based upon what happened? And once you understand what happened, because sometimes the consumer will be able to tell you, sometimes they will not. Because sometimes they don't remember, sometimes they're just embarrassed and they don't want to tell you. And when that is the case, you figure out what am I going to do. Once it's collections account, there's a million things you can do in the first round with a collections account. Once it's collections account, a million things. Charge off, you can begin to feel your way out in the first round with a charge off and test out the furniture, see what the furniture have, and then you take it from there. All right, so some of the things are advanced, some are a bit more basic because I'm catering to everyone. No more questions? All right, if there's no more questions, I want to thank each and every one of you for being here. And I hope that I was able to help you to have a better grasp of the disputing process. And I gave you enough detail where you really understand how much better to get you going. And what I leave you with, you can do this. You can do this. None of us that are here started out knowing anything. You're in a new world, and all you have to do is just transform your mind. As the Bible says, renew your mind. So in the credit repair space, you have to just renew your mind. But what I will tell you, the quality of the information that you have will dictate the kind of success that you have. Because it's easy to get clients, but if you're not producing results, it's different. And you're gonna guess your way and get some deletion. You're going to. But that does not mean you are gonna be consistently getting deletion. It's knowledge that allow you to do that and understanding what's going on. And once you apply yourself and have enough passion, you are going to make the money. You're going to. But don't make that be your priority. Allow service to be your priority and the money will come, because once you have value to offer, people will pay you for it, and you will make money and they will tell other people about you. So focus on becoming good at your craft and the money will come. You will have to be running away from money. All right, so just do that and you will be good. And do not, I'm gonna say this to you, and I don't mean this in any way, If you are going to be all over the place, you're gonna confuse yourself. You need to find a few solid people or one solid person that that is good at what they do and learn from them. You're gonna get confused otherwise if you do that, because if your learning is not structured and organized, you are going to basically find yourself confused and struggling. So tonight, I thank you for the time, and I hope that I basically was able to help you. I have not done this in a long while. Bobby, I thank you for the help that you offer me here. Tracy, good to see you. And thanks to everyone else. Tiffany, thank you for following up. Crystal, Curtis, Ashanti, Yolanda, and Denzel, you finally get to hear me teach a bit. I'm glad that you were able to be here. And Viana, thank you for being here. And Job, as always, you know what it is, my fellow New Yorker.
Oh, yes.
All right. Have a good night, each and every one. If no one else have anything else to ask, blessings to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. God bless you. Appreciate it.
Thank
you so much. This was wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Good night, everyone.